In 1625, James Shaw of Scotland and his wife, Isabella Brisbane, constructed Ballygally Castle with a view of the Irish Sea. It is situated on the Antrim coast. Currently a hotel, the castle is among Ireland's oldest habitable structures. It is well known for being haunted, especially by the spirit of James Shaw's wife, Lady Isabella Shaw. Strange knocks on doors, chilly drafts, ghostly laughter, and the presence of a woman in a silk gown strolling the corridors have all been reported by both staff and guests. One chamber, referred to as the ghost room, is so eerily eerie that guests are not allowed to spend the night inside. The Lady of Ballygally Castle. That night, the water was agitated, with waves roaring against the Antrim coast's cliffs. Above, lightning flashed in the distance as a storm formed. Ballygally Castle stood tall against the wrath of nature, its towers rising like silent sentinels, its stone walls blackened by generations. Passing travelers frequently accelerated their pace, muttering about what was within. Despite being constructed as a fortification in 1625, Ballygally had changed into a home of whispers, a prison of ghosts, and a place where the dead refused to rest. Lady Isabella Shaw is the first character in the novel. When she arrived at Ballygally as the wife of James Shaw, the castle's lord, she was youthful, attractive, and vibrant. But inside those icy confines, love and beauty had little meaning. James was a guy poisoned by jealousy and tormented by distrust. He hesitated rather than rejoiced when Isabella gave birth to his kid. He had a dark feeling that the child wasn't his blood. His misgivings grew into animosity. James grabbed Isabella by the arm and pulled her to a little room at the very top of the castle tower one evening when the wind howled outside. He left her there by herself after locking the thick wooden door. Days went by. No one arrived despite her pleas echoing through the hallways. She pleaded for forgiveness, freedom, and her kid, but none of these things were granted. Some claim that Isabella attempted to flee in her desperation. They describe her scaling the window as the storm was howling and the water was screaming below, and of her slipping, falling, her body shattering in the courtyard. Others whisper of something darker, that her husband's hands pushed her, that the fall was no accident at all. Her passing, however, was not the end. It was only the start. The castle was never the same again soon after. Servants reported hearing 3 calm, steady, purposeful knocks on their doors late at night. However, the corridor was deserted when they unlocked the doors. Some claimed to have seen a woman in a silk gown, as pale as moonlight, floating softly through the corridors, while others heard sobbing coming from the stairwells. Isabella was the one, looking, waiting, permanently confined to the location of her pain. There was one room in the castle that became the most dreaded. They referred to it simply, the ghost room. No matter how high the fire blazed, those who ventured inside described an Arctic frost that lingered to the air. When no one else was there, they described shadows creeping over the stone walls and an unseen hand resting on their shoulder. Some said they woke up in the middle of the night to find her standing by the window, her lips uttering something they couldn't hear, her eyes vacant. Isabella, however, was not by herself. As the ages went by, the castle gathered souls. Footsteps sped across the hardwood floors, and guests started to hear the faint laughing of a ghost child. Mirrors would fog as though someone, had breathed across them, doors would open by themselves, and the unexpected, lovely smell of lavender would permeate the air. Ballygally Castle today, the living haunted hotel. Ballygally Castle is a hotel now. Many visitors go in fear, yet many come in search of history. The lady still wanders the corridors, staff say, her silk robe brushing the stone. There have been guests who swear she stood at the foot of their bed, silently observing until they ventured to move, only to blink and discover the room was empty, and the knocking never stops. If you ever find yourself in Ballygally Castle on a stormy night, listen carefully. If you hear 3 slow knocks on your door after midnight, do not answer, for it may not be the wind, it may not be a guest, it may be her, the Lady of Ballygally Castle, still searching for the child she lost and the justice she was denied. The proprietors of the hotel publicly admit the hauntings, even embracing ghost hunters and paranormal investigators. Yet they too admit there are things in Ballygally Castle that defy explanation. Cameras catch fleeting figures, voices whisper in recordings, and unexplained cold spots linger in certain rooms. So today, Ballygally Castle lives a double life. By day, it is a picturesque hotel overlooking the sea, full of charm, history, and romance. By night, it becomes what it has always been, a place where the living share space with the dead, and those who stay within its gates never forget it. For when darkness comes on the Antrim coast, the Lady of Ballygally Castle still walks, searching for her child, searching for tranquility, searching for you.